Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the very first progress video for Leagues 4. And I know I said I would do it every day, but this is just going to cover day 1 and day 2. Because honestly, I wanted to make a progress video going after, going over everything that I did day 1, but I was just, man, I'm not going to lie, I was just so excited to play that when I woke up yesterday, I was like, let's just get online, let's just get gaming again, and that's kind of what I did. And also, I was just, I've been a little worried as to how I actually want to do these progress videos. Like, do I want to have a lot of editing? How can I copy, all the best people like Solo Mission who with their Leagues 4 videos? And ultimately, I just decided that, like, that's not my style. So I'm just going to do what I do best. I'm going to turn on the camera and I'm just going to talk about Leagues. Day 1 was a blast. I don't know how else to say it. It was amazing for me. And I know some people were having issues logging in, but luckily I was able to get in absolutely just fine. And that very first hour was immaculate. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I had so many people coming in telling me that how useful the day 1 route was, and in my opinion, I think it worked just flawlessly. There were no big hiccups. I didn't see any like major bottlenecks that people were experiencing. I don't think I missed anything important or like made any major mistakes. So honestly, I'm just so relieved that worked out, and it's been helping so many people because yeah, that day 1 route is something I'm super proud of, and I hope it helped a lot of people. And we blasted that first hour. We got so many tasks done, so many points done. And a lot of people were asking me like, well, what tier 1 are you finally gonna go? And I think I settled with Endless Harvest. And you know what? It's not something I've been regretting. It's not the flashiest. It's not as cool as Trickster. And, I know it's really cool seeing all the people with Trickster, running around. They're doing all those thieving tasks while I'm like getting stunned by, every single man in RuneScape. But like, Endless Harvest has just been awesome. And when I go and when I see like how good my stats were already, just based on like the little bit of gathering I've already done, I feel like I have such a massive advantage there. Even in the very beginning, going from like you have to get 8 shrimp, now you only have to get 5 shrimp. It matters. It helps. It actually does. And I don't know. I feel like the best relic decisions are one where there might not be a right decision, but there certainly isn't a wrong decision. And that really, I feel like that happened again with tier 1. I feel like production was very strong. I feel like Endless Harvest, not the flashiest, but hey, it's still very powerful, speeding up those skills. And then Trickster has just been a joy. I think everybody's been enjoying Trickster. And honestly, I can't wait to make a second account and play around with Trickster, because right now, I mean, the tier 1 relics just once again have been just incredible this time around. And honestly, as much as I tried to plan out that day 1 route, it's all kind of changed with tier 2, because tier 2 give us the option between Globetrotter and Fairy Flight. And now I knew that Globetrotter would be there, right? That's giving you all the teleports of a max house. You got all the Portal Nexus, the full jewelry box, and I bet that is really powerful. But when I saw Fairy Flight, I knew that this was going to be what I was going for, because you're going to get access to all of the fairy rings, all of the spirit trees, and all of the tool leprechauns. Now, first off, I was planning on going Kandarin first, so I knew that getting around to all the spirit trees was going to be, like, really good. I was pretty positive on that regardless. But then when I started to think about all of the different, farming patches you can get to by teleporting to leprechauns, I mean, I just felt like this is crazy. Like, Fairy's Flight is so strong. And so I obviously went with that. And I think a big reason for my choice there was not just that I thought it was really powerful, but I love any relics that are like different or unique to Leagues, that make you change how you play, that you can't do on the main game. You can get a max house on the main game. You can get, a full jewelry box and a full portal nexus. I mean, it's not easy, but it is possible. You can get that. In fact, you can even get it in Leagues. However, there was nothing in the game that lets you teleport to all of the tool leprechauns, and immediately from the start, there was such a switch in the brain where I had to be like, whoa, what are all the different fairy rings I can use? Where's the closest teleport to a bank? And by the way, I think we've been using the spirit tree to the Grand Exchange, but if you have a closer Fairy Flight teleport to a bank, let me know, because we're still trying to come up with all the best ways of using this amazing relic. other than that, it was like this huge game on day one to just like start mapping out all of the fairy not all the fairy fight, but all the like tool leprechauns, because those were so different. You got the Champions Guild one, the one on Fossil Island, so you can start doing birdhouse runs. I was using the one in Varrock a whole bunch just to get over there. I mean, like the possibilities just felt endless with Fairy's Flight. And by day two, I mean, obviously I've been playing a lot, but it was cool to see how different the game felt when I was relying on that as my main teleport. Trying to learn all the different combinations, getting the all the fairy ring combos like memorized in my head because I'm constantly teleporting around to those. And of course, always trying to remember like bring your fairy mushroom, because that is like that's been such a fun item, and I think I've been using that teleport constantly. I love the Artie Monastery. I didn't even have to go get my Ardoon Diary. I could just take the Tool Leprechaun there and then use the altar. I mean, and then combined, of course, with our first region, guys. We got our first region, Kandarin. I've been talking about Kandarin for a while. I do think it's a great starting zone. When you unlock that first zone, you're looking for an engine to get you into your second and your third zone. And I feel like Kandarin serves that purpose beautifully. If you look at a lot of the tasks, they're very easy. There's a lot of like quest-based ones, which, if I'm going to be honest, I didn't do as many quests as I expected to. I was planning on going a lot more for quests, and then my game plan very quickly kind of just shifted to doing whatever I wanted, really. I just didn't feel like doing a lot of quests. I kind of did whatever I wanted, just kind of knocking out tasks. Not really focusing on anything too specific, but I did use that endless harvest to get my gathering skills up very, very fast. So I could get, a lot of tasks like catching 100 lobsters. That requires a decent fishing level, and I was able to get that done. I think I was even doing like catch a monkfish or something like that, with just 62 fishing, and that's quite a bit. But endless harvest kind of allowed me to do some of those harder gathering skills, as well as training wood cutting and fletching. Even getting my mining up a little bit. And along the way, while we're just, destroying tasks in Kandarin because we're trying to get our next region unlocked, we actually were able to get tier 3 at a pretty fast pace. And this was a hard choice. I was sitting in Artie for quite a while, trying to make up my mind here. And it was Fire Sale or Banker's Note. And I'm not going to lie, guys, the memes here have been just completely on fire, because I think it has been such a highly like heated discussion with both sides feeling that they're justified. So you got Fire Sale that basically gives you free shops. You can buy everything you want, and I mean, that's a crazy unlock. I mean, you can do some insane stuff. People were getting like 2,000 points in an hour after unlocking Fire Sale, which is like, as far as early game potential goes, I don't even know how you can beat something that powerful, like unlimited, or basically unlimited money. It's insane. And it's been really, really fun running around seeing like stacks of like 50 rune plate bodies on the ground, and my brain is like, oh my god, go pick up the 2 billion stack over there. But it's just somebody with Fire Sale messing around. However, ultimately we went with the Banker's Note, and I'm telling you guys, I think the Banker's Note, I have been very, very pleased with it. Okay, sure, I'm a brokey. Okay, yes, I've been poor. I've been being made fun of constantly for not having Fire Sale, not having all the money in the world that I could spend. But with the Banker's Note, it just feels like the uses and the variety of places where you can actually utilize it is just, it's just endless. Like, there were so many times where I was just, like, oh wow, Banker's Note is helpful here. Oh wow, Banker's Note is helpful here. Oh, I could use a Banker's Note here. My inventory, I can manage it. I'm killing a monster. I can note that. And even with Endless Harvest, like, yeah, I can't. I mean, obviously, I'm sending everything to my bank anyway with Endless Harvest, but like, dude, I've got Banker's Note for everything else. So I've been loving Banker's Note. I'll talk about some of the other uses once we got into day 2. There's a really big one that I've been just enjoying a lot. But as we kept going, we had 2 more big stuff to do in day 1. Actually, 3 more. There were 3 more. First up, we were trying to get our tier 4 combat relic. This is so important because I really feel like once you get your combat relic, now's a good time for you to start training your combat. And until then, you don't really want to. Until you get 2,000 points, until you get tier 4, you're kind of like, you're kind of just getting along, doing skilling, doing those like achievement diary style tasks, like talk to this guy, go get some stuff for this guy. It feels like you're playing like a fetch quest in another MMO. But once you got that tier 4, you get the insane power of your combat relic. And of course, I went with mage. We grabbed the staff of fire and we just started going to town casting spells. I mean, we were casting below pipe spells. We're killing cows. We're killing chickens. We were doing everything. And honestly, once I got that tier 4, my game plan kind of changed where I was like, you know what? I kind of just want to like go do a lot of combat. One of my favorite parts in leagues is just doing PVM, doing combat tasks like that, going and doing some Slayer and stuff like that. I'm in Kandarin, so I do need quite a bit of Slayer anyways. And instead of working and focusing on tasks after that, I kind of just went and did like a whole bunch of combat, I did a whole bunch of Slayer, and I don't regret it at all. It was really, really fun. And I was asking a lot of other people about this too, but it feels like once you hit that tier 4, the game really just opens up and you can go in any real direction you want. You can keep doing skilling, you can go do some combat. Like you're just like you've kind of unlocked a lot of your power, and that feels awesome. And yeah, it was great. It was great getting those first 2,000 points. It was great going ahead and unlocking it. And everything up to then was just perfect. So then we had two more big things to go for the day, for that day 1. And that was we wanted to unlock our second zone and we wanted to get our next relic. So we just started slamming tasks. Eventually, I did get a little bit bored of Slayer. I was like, all right, let's go ahead and work on the desert. And the nice thing is I didn't really go out of my way ever to focus on tasks. I mean, sure, I would look at some of the easier tasks to do, but for the most part, I was just kind of doing things that I liked. I was like the opposite of efficiency this leagues because I threw all that efficiency out to just go and like I just tried to do tasks that I thought I would have fun with. People were begging me to go do Soul Wars, and I don't think I did. I haven't done Soul Wars yet, just because I don't really want to go do Soul Wars. I'd rather go mine some essence and then use that all at the ZMI altar with my banker's note, so I can just unnote rune essence, turn it all into runes, and just go. It was just so much fun. So with zone 2, once we finally got 140 points, which is quite a lot, we went ahead and got the desert. It's I felt like now that I have my combat relics, it is time. We need to go and get our ancient magics. And when I got to the desert, I think the first thing I did is I ran straight to the gem trader and I made like 200,000 gold just cutting gems because yeah, the gem trader is insane. If you guys have the desert or if you guys have Ascarnia, there's also a gem trader there. You gotta try this out. You gotta go just buy a bunch of gems, cut them, and sell them back for profit. You're getting crafting experience. I didn't even do it that long, honestly, because I at a certain point I just wanted to go and use my money on stuff. But I would really recommend if you guys are trying to do any of that, like that is a fantastic option. I would really recommend. Along with the desert, unlocking a new zone just gives you so much tasks that you can start doing. So we went and did some Temperos, we did some Guardians of the Rift, we got the Sleeping Giants quest unlocked, so we could go do Giants Foundry a little bit. Although I haven't done that too much, there's still a lot for me to do in the desert. And on top of that, we just ran around completing, just a bunch, just going through the list and completing all the easy tasks, all the medium tasks that I feel like I could do very easily. We went to Pyramid Plunder, things like that. And one thing I would like really recommend you do if you are trying to like go and get some levels up and stuff like that is and one thing I would definitely recommend if you are just trying to get some tasks done is if you can go to the OSRS wiki, you can actually sort by percentage of completed. And what this does is it allows you to see what tasks have like a lot of people completed, which is usually going to be tasks that are really easy to do, that you can just are kind of no-brainers. You can just knock them out in just a little bit. Then even some of these medium and hard tasks, they don't take you very long. They don't take you very long to do. So yeah, if you do want to get some tasks done, check out the OSRS wiki. In general, it's just a great way to look at your task list. So, it's a good resource. You should definitely use it. So now finally we have two regions unlocked, 4 relics. Last thing I wanted to do for that very first day is I wanted to try to get my tier 5. It's 4,000 points, but with the desert unlocked, with getting all those new tasks, I felt like it was definitely on the table. So that's what I went ahead and did. Continued to just slam tasks, really doing whatever I want. I did a bunch of Slayer along the way too. I, got my ancients and stuff like that. Really started getting my magic level up. But once we got tier 5, I made a pretty tough choice. I know a lot of people were thinking about the Slayer one. I think the Clue Scroll relic has just been Treasure Seeker. The Clue Scroll relic. I mean that thing's been insane. I mean, not only was it broken, insane, but yeah, everybody I've seen that's been running it is just slamming out their clues at like these unbelievable rates. There's so many tasks associated with clues. It's almost like its own skill and a half, really, because of how many tasks it gives you. So if you are looking to just knock out clues, the clue scroll relic is like it's good. It's really really powerful. But for me, I had to go with my heart and I wanted to go for Infernal Gathering because I figured that first off, this is just going to combine very well with Endless Harvest. Basically, what Infernal Gathering does is that everything that I mine, everything that I woodcut, and everything that I cook, or sorry, everything that I fish is also going to get processed. So every ore that I mine gets turned into bars, everything that I fish gets cooked, and everything that I mine, we turn that into fire making. Or I guess we burn it, so we get fire making experience. So this means, and this works with Endless Harvest. So I'm actually going to be getting twice the amount of resources. So every time I fish, I'm getting 2 times the resources and I'm cooking 2 times the resources, plus that gets sent to my bank. However, the real benefit of this was not actually just the cooking stuff, because that is opening up some more skills as well, right? But it's also that the tools you get themselves are incredibly powerful. They actually operate at like faster speed than usual. And and in addition, I didn't really have access to a dragon axe. I didn't really want to go get like a dragon pickaxe, and I could have gotten a dragon harpoon, but just getting all of those best tools available right away has been incredible. I mean, just like this, like you're just looking at the stats, and it's incredible to see just how high my gathering as well as like the respective processing skills are. They're very, very good, and it's not something I'm going to have to focus on very much. I can spend more time working on some of my lower skills. I'm not going to have to sit and fish very long because, I mean, my fishing is insane. It really is. I've been knocking it out. Again, this let me knock out some of those harder gathering tasks like fishing 100 sharks and cooking 100 sharks. That's not that easy to do. It does take a while, but with such a high fishing level, I could get that out. And on top of that, we were able to just collect a whole bunch of sharks. I had over 100 noted sharks to use on whatever I wanted. But with that completed, that did wrap up day 1. I was pretty exhausted getting all that. So I was like, you know what, let's go ahead, let's call it, and let's head back in for day 2. So going into day 2, we had about 190 tasks completed, and we had about 4,500 points, somewhere around there. And right away, I knew that the big goals for day 2 was to get our next relic. So that's going to be tier 6 unlocked, as well as unlocking the final region, because we got Kandarin unlocked, we got Desert unlocked, but we still needed to get Ascarnia, the last, piece of the puzzle to really get things going. So I had 2 very, very clear objectives to work towards. I got on in the morning. I uploaded the videos, these huge live streams, like a 10-hour video. I made a list of like 80 different tasks I wanted to do that's going to get me really close, because 300 tasks is a lot. Okay, it is a lot, but I started writing out a list. I was so ready to get on and stream. And then within like literally the first hour, I'm not even joking, I think I took that entire list and I threw it away and I just went to go do fun stuff. I can't really explain what's been going on with me this league. On one hand, I'm playing a lot and I'm seeing, the leaderboards, and there's that part of me, there's like this competitive part where I'm like, dude, I want to go for rank 1. I want to be the top of the league points and stuff like that. I think not going fire sale kind of helped in that aspect, where I was like, I'm definitely not beating people on day 1 who have fire sale and stuff like that. But I'm not that interested in like beating leagues on the first couple of days. So my focus instead has kind of just been on doing stuff that I like, even if it's not the fastest path to the next relic, even if it's not like I only have 12 times experience multiplier instead of 16 times experience multiplier, but I just don't care. I'm like, this is fine. I will get the rest of the relics. I'll get the rest of the tasks unlocked kind of over time. Why not just do stuff for fun? So we threw away the list, and what did we do instead? We farmed a couple prayer potions, and we went to go do the fight caves. Yeah, day 2, that day 2 morning started off with doing the fight caves mage. It was insanely fun, and I only had 4 prayer potions to get there. And while I was limited on prayer potions, which was tough because we did have to do quite a bit of, prayer conservation and really making sure things were okay on that front, so I had enough for Jad, I was able to bring an entire refrigerator into the fight caves. We had 300 salmon and 100 sharks noted, and I could just use my banker's note to basically use as much food as I wanted. And yeah, I mean, when I said that I like Banker's Note, I really did mean it, guys. It has been so fun using that ability. It's really helped me do a lot of other PVM, even things like Bryofata and Obor. We were able to do those a little bit early before I even had protection prayers, just because of like I had so much food, I could just eat through everything. Speaking of, we actually got Bryofata's essence on 7 KC, and we got the Obor club in 1 KC. So we've kind of been getting crazy spooned on gear too. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm kind of starting to worry that I'm using up all my good luck. And so when I get to like, when I get to raids, I'm freaking terrified that like all that bad luck is gonna come back to haunt me, and I'm gonna be stuck, for like weeks trying to get my shadow. But it's not gonna be a problem. We're gonna have 5 times drop rate by then, so I'm really looking forward to get into some higher PVM. Yeah, and it didn't stop with that. I continued doing more Slayer. We've been absolutely slamming our Slayer up to like 82 now, going into day 3. Not the most efficient. I'm not gonna lie, it's not the most efficient to do Slayer right now, but it's gonna help me get ahead of it, kind of get ahead of the pack from everybody else that's doing Slayer. Um, and my big goal here is I want to go ahead and get the Kraken unlocked, because once I get the Kraken, that's an instance boss, and it's a complete joke of a boss too. With magic, I'm just gonna be doing so much damage to the Kraken, slamming my kill count tasks, getting really fast kills. I'm not gonna have to worry about competing with everybody else for like the nice Slayer spots. In addition, Slayer has kind of been like the solution, or at least like a somewhat solution to my money problem, because now that once I got to like Dust Devils, right, and I could start barraging those guys, I could also get all their alks and stuff like that, and I was finally starting to make some money, and I didn't have to rely on using the gem method. I'm just doing this right now while we're like making the video and stuff, because I got nothing better to do. Got to get my crafting up anyways. But yeah, it's been really fun getting that Slayer up early. I'm really excited to keep going with that, because once we get into that higher stuff, we're really going to be able to pump out drops, and I'm just going to alk everything I get, basically no problem. In Kandarin, we have to get the Kraken. We've got to get Smoke Devils as well, and between those guys, we're gonna have so much magic damage in the late game, or like not even the late game. It's I wouldn't even call it the mid game. It's like the early to mid game, because it's day 3. Like we're recording this on day 3, but yeah, day 2 we already had so much done. And again, if you were interested in watching any of this, maybe you wanted to go watch that Fight Caves. We did it with Mage, by the way, which was pretty fun. All the VODs should be up as well, so you guys can go back and basically follow the journey, see everything that we've been doing. I just wanted to make like a specific progress video to keep everybody updated. But finally, let's talk about goals for day 2. Right, we went and I think the first thing is that it became very clear that I'm very, very close to tier 6, right? So I should probably work on that and start getting points. One thing that you should probably think about is when you want to unlock the next relic, you want to do tasks that give you a lot of points. So it's typically going to be mediums and hards that are kind of easy to do, that are worth your time. If you're trying to unlock your next area, you just want to slam super easy tasks that are worth 10 points, because they all count as one task. So that's sort of been my mindset, is if I'm going for a relic, let's go for points. If I'm going for an area, let's just do tasks. And honestly, that's like a rough draft, because for the most part, I've kind of just been like, I want to go do this thing, and then I just go and do it for a while, and I only really start focusing on unlocks when I'm like very, very close to the point where I would have to like go out of my way not to try to get it unlocked fast. But between the fight caves, sacrificing our fire cave right away to have access to the Inferno, and then we also did the Jad challenges. We did 1 Jad, 2 Jad, and 3 Jads. You don't need the Inferno to do 3 Jads. We got like over 700 points from just doing fight caves stuff that morning. It was a lot of fun, and we did it all with like 4 prayer pots. But finally, when we did unlock tier 6 about halfway through the day, I went ahead and I chose Farmer's Fortune. It was a tough decision, because I think everything in that tier is pretty good, but ultimately I felt like my herb lore and my farming were really lacking behind, and I needed a way to pump start, get that going, because I needed combat supply. I needed prayer potions desperately, because I'm not going to continue farming them. And in general, I was starting to get a lot of seeds from Slayer that I needed a fast way to process, because, I'm not going to lie, guys, it's leagues, okay? I'm not going to sit around and go to all my farming patches. Even with Fairy's Flight, I don't want to do that. I want to get instant farming patches. I want to plant the seed and instantly get everything from there. And that's exactly what Farmer's Fortune did. And it has been so good. I mean, just look at this. 67 farming. Like, that's really fast. And even 45 herb lore. Like, we haven't processed all of our herbs yet, but like this was like from maybe like half an hour of doing farming, because it was so fast. In addition, I spent some time like at the master farmers, and then basically all the seeds that they gave, I just like converted it into farming experience. Like all the good seeds, at least. But I have a ton of herbs ready to go. I'm really gonna like. I can't wait to just do a little bit more herblore. I'm just kind of like waiting to find a time to just smash out more. So yeah, that's been a lot of fun. And I know I had so many people who were looking at the farming one and they weren't sold on it, but when they saw me like instantly make limpwort seeds and getting like 25k, 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 they're like, okay, yeah, this is pretty broken. I don't need ruinous powers for like 5 to 10% more DPS. Let's just go farming and have a blast doing that. Also, I remember one of the best moments of the last day was getting a teak seed drop. I was doing Fossil Island Wyverns and I got teak seed, and I was like, actually able to basically throw that into the ground for an instant 90k farming experience. It instantly grew, and we got 90k farming experience from a teak seed. So, like, just think about that. Like, you get a drop that's 100k farming experience base. I mean, that's just it's so cool. It's been so much fun, and my brain right now is like I'm on the hunt for seeds. Every single seed right now is so good because of how fast I can get farming experience. However, with that being said, I was still in a bit of a conundrum. I did not have access to prayer potions, and I didn't have snape grass seeds. So I was like, okay, well, what the heck do I do? How do I make prayer potions? I don't know what I'm stuck. And I thought about it for a while, came up with a couple options. Maybe I could farm it, but I think the best way, honestly, with no questions asked, was just suck it up and start grinding out tasks, or just busting out tasks so we can get Asgarnia. Because Asgarnia, well, first off, it's a whole region. There's a ton of stuff to do there in general. But most importantly, there's also a patch that has snape grass. And I could just go grab all that snape grass and start making myself prayer potions so I could really start doing combat and not having to worry about like a constant prayer problem every time I go and do a Slayer task. And so instead of overwhelming myself, instead of looking at every single possible task and trying to get that figured out, all I did really is I went and I would just look through the task list by start by complete. And if I saw a task to do, I just went and did it. I really got into like a good focus, and I was like, okay, I see a task, do a task. See a task, do a task. See a task, do a task. And slowly like that, just chipping away. It was like, oh, now there's 40 tasks left to go. Now there's 30 tasks left to go. Oh, 15 tasks left to go. And very, very soon it was like, oh my God, we're gonna get Asgarnia. It's happening today. And yeah, that was the big one for yesterday. Is we went ahead, we slammed out all 300 tasks, and you guys can see this is basically just after day 2 completed. I'm in the morning now, but this is 306 tasks with over 9,000 points, and we have unlocked every single area. We also went ahead and we unlocked Asgarnia. So we've basically, it's kind of cool. It's actually, there's one big massive region that I have. I can actually teleport between everywhere here. It's almost like these zones don't even exist. It's like a RuneScape from like half the game basically. Just going over the stats, looking into like what we get with Asgarnia. Not only do we get like prayer potions, which is, I mean, obviously it's nice, but we get the entire region too. We got God Wars available to do. I'm really going to be trying to get my stats up so I can start doing bandos. Like I got 70 strength, so I could do bandos. I got to get my agility up so I can start doing that. My range is lacking a little bit. But with basically that all done, with 3 regions unlocked, with the whole like game for me essentially set up, I figured, okay, let's stop focusing on tasks. Let's stop focusing on relics. Let's just get myself set up for some combat. And, I started doing some combat with Ancient Magics, and I realized that while Ancient Magics does do a very good amount of damage, it's a bit funky to use just because you're attacking so fast. It actually becomes a bit of a problem, to say the least. So the plan is actually going to be to continue doing Slayer. I kind of want to like keep knocking out my Slayer, and the goal here is I want to get 87 Slayer, get myself a Trident, and this is all day 3 goals, by the way, which is probably going to be streamed in the next couple of hours, so you guys can watch that if you're catching the video. And we're live on YouTube and Twitch, so you guys can check either one of those out. But we're going to be going for 87 Slayer. We're going to try to get some God Wars dungeon in. We're going to try to get our range up just a little bit and round out our combat stats, because the big goal for day 3, and really why we picked the desert to begin with, is I want to go slam some Tombs of Amasket. I want to start basically getting my hands into PVM, and I think Tombs is the way to do that. With how much magic damage I do, I think it is possible, and it's going to be it's going to be doable for sure. So if you guys are interested in that, that's basically the plans for day 3. Now, of course, we are still going to be looking for some relics. 5,000 points away until the next relic unlock it's doable for sure. And, the last 2 are both combat relics. So every time I get one of those, it's just going to make it a little bit faster while we continue to do bosses. Right now for tier 7, I've been thinking about doing Soul Stealer because I really, really want to play around with like being at low health and just, killing bosses. I think that like, is it going to be the most efficient? Am I going to die a whole bunch? Yes, but I think it's going to be so fun just running around doing these bosses at like, 20% or 30% health, always trying to like cut you. Basically, I'm on the knife's edge, always trying to max out the most amount of damage. And if I can do it successfully, I feel like my damage is going to be like so through the roof that like I'm just going to be killing monsters so fast. So I'm really, really excited for that. And in addition, just having, so much unlocked in the game now, I feel like I can kind of do whatever I want. I feel like I'm not like pressured to do any tasks. I'm not really pressured to like go get a relic or anything like that. All of my skills are looking just fine, honestly. Like, yeah, some of the stuff is lagging behind, but like now I can do whatever I want. Like you guys see, I'm doing Temporos right now, and if you didn't know, with Endless Harvest and the Infernal Gathering, you can actually kill them in one go, which is, I mean, it's really, really cool. Like, it is really, really cool. This is like Prime League's action where you're able to like abuse the relics to just do stuff that like you normally would not be able to do in the main game. So basically, with that being said, guys, I think that's pretty much it for the day 1 and 2 recap. I wish I could stay in chat more, honestly, but listen, I'll just be on the stream talking about stuff as well. And then basically tomorrow morning, before we start the next stream, we'll get you guys out with the day 3 recap. This should be a little bit easier going over day 3 because even though we're going to be covering a lot in day 3, obviously it's not as much as covering the first 2 days where I've been playing like, I think like 40 hours combined. So as always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.